Friday night. Willits. Not sponsored. Like one viewer might sell a bottle. But this is some of the best for the money. If you can find it for, I don't know, $50 or $60. It's a pretty good deal. It's very good. And then I'm going to have this Crazy Alice with it too. It's just a nice size, and it burns interesting because it's kind of like a cone shaped thing. Vintage clock. Accurate time. That's great, clean guitar right there. Very plucky. Just sounds like an upstroke. Ready or not. That's the upstroke. Oh yeah, this is always great. I really try to replicate this in a couple things. Duran Duran tribute. I feel like it's kind of like what he would have done if he could have had spots to let loose. Not that he didn't have some spots. Now, I heard a couple live shows that Andy's just ripping it up. I don't just mean like aggressive and rock. I mean like shredding. Good shredding. Cool. Fit into the song. Serving the song. Shredding. Really good stuff. He's great. So anyway. Yeah, Arcadia, that's a thing I haven't spent any time with. I'm going to have to check that out. Okay, I'm going to talk about this. This is probably kind of a piece of junk. I mean, I see him go for a lot of money on Reverb, or eBay. Just this neck. Just the neck, I would see probably go for about between $200 and $400 is what people ask. And they sit up there, I don't know. They do eventually sell. It's hard to know if they get what an offer is or whatever. But I can't bring myself to do that. I bought this in I don't know, 1992 or something like that at Scheitel's down in Mankato. And it used to be all, see how it's this sparkly silver? It was like that. It was that sparkly silver over the whole thing. And it was all flashy and stuff. And it just never played very nice. And then I found out that they were junk. 10 years ago. I was like, oh, I guess that guitar was junk. Never played very nice. It just was cheap. At the time, I needed a spare. And this bass player for the band I was in was mad at me one time because I just had one guitar and broke a string, and I mean that sucked. But I mean, we were just starting out. We didn't know how to do shit, and he's like, "You better get a spare guitar." So I did. I just went and got cheapest thing that was also cool. And then, well, thank God for that, because now was a really fun project. It still is a work in progress. It's cursed in a way. This type of bridge is just an odd duck that they had for a period of time. It's Jackson Bridge. It says made in Germany by Shaler, and then it says Jackson on it, but it's cursed for other reasons. If you look, see how you just put the ball end in there, and so because of that, it's a little bit different kind of bridge, and so the scale length is just, this is it. If you try and put another bridge on here, it'll line up, but you can't get the saddles, forward enough or back enough. I can't remember which direction, but you can't, to get it to intonate. It'll get kind of close, and it'll be maddening because it'll sound really cool and be fun to play, but it'll be screwed. So I just have gone back to this bridge, and I'm just kind of dealing with it. It's just going to be a thing that I fight with, probably. Maybe there's a nice version of this out there somewhere. Like I said, this was the cheap guitar. Look at it, it's plywood. But I really like the way this looks. With this one, it's got this barn door aesthetic. I mean, look at the belly cut. Has that same. It's hard to see. It's too dark, but it's got that same kind of effect. Yeah, I like Germany. I like German things. So that's just all why that's there. But this neck is really great. It feels really comfortable. Everybody says these are ESP necks, which I guess I could believe. I think in the case of this one especially, I think there's some that weren't great. Maybe they were made by ESP, but they had variance in quality too. And this one, when I took it apart, even though it hadn't been, it had been at the store in 1991 or 92 when I bought it, and I didn't take it apart. I just used it. Very little, because it just never played right, never sounded very good. Just had tuning stability problems and stuff. And the pickups were junk. Just sounded awful. And then, like I said, about 10 years ago, I was like, I'll take this apart. This will be my experiment to see if I like making a guitar or fixing one up. And so I took it apart, and there was shims under there and shims under here, and it's just, they tried to get it to go. So I took it to a guy, and the guy's pretty good. And he got it to play pretty nice. And in fact, he tried a couple different bridges in here and just was like, it's just try and make that work, or the same type of style work. This is Wilkinson stuff, these pickups. I don't know, they're biting and cool. That's not what I want in there, ultimately. Ultimately, I want much more vintagey sound, like a wood. Like maybe like those bare knuckles. That's a thing. Or I thought about those Thornbuckers. Like, and Pete Thorne's got some stuff, which, I don't know, I think it's cool. There's these kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to be insulting, but like, he's not Joe Bonamassa. But I follow him, and I think he's cool, and I like his sound and stuff. And so it's just like anybody else trying to find tone. And it's cool. These are options out there. And I love a Suhr guitar at some point in my life. Those are, yeah. Sorry. Kind of got distracted by that. They just are very nice. All right, so anyway, so this thing, it's just constant bridge things that I'm going to be fighting with on here. I want to make it play nice, and I'll try and document it as I go along. This right now, it's kind of, I don't know, it's just pulled back and decked. I mean, this has like foam back here. This was when they, they routed out back here and it's so dried out now. That little piece of, look at that. It's not foam anymore. It's just like black chalk. And that's not great. It's hard to get this to float and play nice. And maybe a nicer one would. But what's really cool about this is the electronics. This is one of the most exciting things about this that I find most fun to play. It's kind of like a hybrid. I don't know what to compare it to, but basically when you're up here, you have this tone knob and this pickup, master volume. This tone knob sets the tone for this. When you're here, it's this and this. This still sets the tone for this. This is just no tone. When you go to this, it's this pickup, no tone. It's just tone is taken out of it. When you go here, it's single coil, this tone knob. So you could set it back here. You can roll the tone back to here, single coil. When you go down to that, it's humbucker, and the tone is taken out of it entirely. It's just bypassed, and it's like there's no tone load at all, and it's just wide open. And that is really cool. And this is series parallel situation that I don't remember which does which, but it changes things up. So this is just a really cool, fun guitar. Even though it was cheap, the neck feels great. And when it's in tune and everything's going good, it sounds cool. It's very microphonic. This stuff is just bolted to the guitar, and so you hear all these transients. And I'm gonna try and make it cool and put it here up on my stuff. This is another one of these older school trem arms where this is locked here at that position, that tension basically. And so then you bring the arm in, and then wherever you place the arm, that's where it's going to be. And if you want to get it out of there, you're just going to give it a knock. Watch. See? Boop. And now it'll come all the way out. But the tension this tension that I set on the other side of this will stay the same. It's a pain in the butt to get working, but once you get it working, it really is nice. It works so nice. So that's this thing. It's a Kramer 600 ST, which is like a striker model. It was the cheap of the ones back in the day. And even though it says, what's that say, Neptune? I don't know, maybe it was assembled in New Jersey. Maybe. The neck was made in Japan. The body, I don't know. I feel like these bodies were Korean or something when they were plywood like that. But I just love the other one that I have. That's like, I'll bring it up here too. The other one that I have is more like one piece of plywood on the top, and this one you can see there was a knot or something here, and so there's like, just like, if you had bought it at Home Depot, a piece of plywood. Look at that. I think it's great. It's like a barn door. I just think this thing is cool as hell. It turned out much better than I expected. And I love how it's, it's still kind of like trying to be flashy and shiny right here. But I can thrash it. Really fun.